The Thing was great in 2002. What's the remaster like though? Alright everyone, hope you are doing well. Thank you for pressing play once again. I'm the man they call Pixel Paul, and I've been waiting for this game for quite some time now. I was quite excited when this game got announced back in, I think it was about summer last year, and it actually got a digital release late last year in 2024. But it's only just come out on physical now, and straight away I grabbed it. And you can probably tell from there that it was the Thing Remastered. Now, yes, I've opened this already. I got it the other last week, I think it was. But I know some of you like unboxing ASMR. So for those of you who do, there you go. Some of you like that, apparently. But yeah, I got this from the game collection. I paid $24.99 for it. I actually got it for free because I had £25 worth of points. So I got it for free, really. So yeah, the Thing Remastered on PlayStation 5. Like I said, it came out digitally late last year, but it's only just been re-released now on as a physical game. And yeah, I had to grab it because I have been waiting for this. So the Thing, the movie. It's not my most favourite film of all time or anything like that. It's a film I do like. I'm not a massive horror genre kind of person. I can give or take them a little bit, but I do like The Thing. It is a good movie. I really like John Carpenter films. Really like Kurt Russell as well, especially sort of Kurt Russell, 1980s Kurt Russell. Big Trouble in Little China as well. Obviously, that's one of my favourite films. I do love that film. But The Thing is a great film. And back in 2002, I really enjoyed The Thing on the PlayStation 2. So yeah, 2002 this came out, 23 years ago. Wow. I've not played it since. I've never played it since. But back in the day, 2002, I did really enjoy this game. It was a bit of a sort of sleeper hit, I guess. It sort of came out of nowhere as well. There was a few games that sort of came out like this, you know, tied to older sort of movies. I'm thinking of like The Warriors as well, which was a really great game and a relative sort of success as well. But yeah, The Thing was another one of those third person shooter, very sort of its time. And back then it was a decent game, slightly flawed. It did have its flaws, but good enough. And I remember really enjoying it. I've never played it since. I must admit, I've never played it since. But I will always sort of look back and think of it quite fondly because I did remember really enjoying it. So when they announced in, well, to 2024 that The Thing was going to get its remaster, I was intrigued. I was thinking, well, do you know what? I really enjoyed it back then. It'll be interesting to see what a remaster of quite a niche game in a way is going to be like. And it's sort of all the games that you can remaster, I don't know, The Thing was just never one that I'd sort of particularly thought of being, you know, sort of almost popular enough to remaster. But yeah, it just grabbed my attention. I fancied playing it again. Obviously, I've got the PS2 version, so I could have played it any time. But yeah, the remaster, just thought I wouldn't mind giving that a go. And give it a go, I have. So, The Thing Remastered. So I wanted to do this video because I was so looking forward to it as well. And I don't really get games, you know, brand new that often either. So I do like to sort of give my opinion, if you like. This isn't a review. I'm not going to score it or anything like that. It's just an opinion kind of video on it. And just to give my early thoughts on this remaster. So I'm about, I'd say about 2/3 of the way through it. I have been flying through my gameplay of this one. Like I say, I have been enjoying it. It's a nostalgia trip, this one. It's as far as remasters go, it's an interesting one. And like I say, it's very much relying on that kind of nostalgia, because it's still very much a PlayStation 2 game. It feels very much like a PS2 game. And I did sort of have a look back at the PS2 version just to sort of give, get an idea of how close to the original game it really was. And yeah, I'll show a bit of gameplay footage of it now. It's not side-by-side footage or anything like that, but I've done my best. So yeah, this is a bit of footage from gameplay of the Thing Remastered.
Lawson! Lawson! Oh, wake up!
Oh, herregud, hjälp mig, hjälp mig!
Blake, it's Whitley. What's the situation?
Not good.
What do you see?
Not a goddamn thing in this storm.
Have you found anything?
Well, your transmitter's down and everything else is foobar.
What do you mean?
The base is gone, Colonel. It looks like massive explosives damage. Any clues here are gonna be like finding a needle in a haystack.
Understood. Do a recon, see if you can find anything that'll give us an idea what happened. I can try to get the chopper back to you within an hour, but visibility's falling fast and the report for your area is not very good.
Okay. We'll make a sweep and report back.
Roger. Meanwhile, I'll check up on Alpha Team. Oh, Blake, just remember it's 40 below out there. We both know exposure could sneak up on you. Keep your team together and get them to shelter as quickly as you can.
Roger that. Blake out.
Area
Blake, you need anything repaired or even a simple bypass, and I'm your man.
If any of you take on any damage, get back to me ASAP, and I'll help you out. I'm not carrying any dead bodies back.
I'm locked, loaded, and ready to make shit dead.
Area looks secure.
Area looks secure.
Hold still and I'll fix you up. It is cold as shit!
My whole body's numb.
So the game itself is essentially a horror game, a third-person shooter with sort of tactical squad elements to it, and that was always kind of its unique idea, if you like. So you basically go through the game and you will meet other characters, other sort of squad members, that your main character Blake sort of knows. Some of them, they're part of like a bigger sort of squad unit sort of thing, and all of this game is set as a sequel to the movie The Thing as well. So it's all set around the aftermath of the movie, and you play as Blake, and yeah, you meet various characters along the way as well. And the unique side to that is the fact that you never quite know which of those characters has been taken over by the Thing or infected by the Thing. You're never quite sure. There are ways to test it, like doing a blood test. But yeah, there's an element of trust and gaining other squad members' trust as well. There's also an element of fear and panic as well. So the other squad members, you know, if they see something that scares them, they will go into a bit of a panic. You can help them with like adrenaline shots and that sort of thing, or handing them other, you know, more ammo or other weapons. But yeah, that's sort of quite unique in a way. That kind of idea that non-playable characters can be affected by things that you do in a way. So that was quite unique, and it's, you know, that is still in place in the remaster as well. The remaster is essentially exactly the same game. It is exactly the same game. Very little in terms of gameplay has changed in the remaster. The only major sort of changes, if you like, are obviously the graphics, which I'll touch on in a bit, but also with the controls as well. So the PlayStation 2 controls were always a little bit cumbersome. You know, the aiming was a little bit off. There is an auto aim, which also sort of helps, and that's been carried forward into the PS5 version too. But yeah, the controls were always a little bit clunky feeling, and they have smoothed that out now. The game plays like you would expect a modern day third-person shooter to play. So, you know, dual sticks, trigger button on the top, and yeah, that makes it feel a lot more fluid compared to the sort of PS2 clunky controls, if you like. I do have slight gripes with the menus and the sort of squad selections. It was never great in the PlayStation 2 version or Xbox version, because it came out on the Xbox as well. But yeah, on the original version, the sort of character select menu screens are quite cumbersome, and they're still that way now. The weapon select screen is a little bit, it's not quite as instant as you would like, perhaps. So that doesn't help a little bit. It kind of takes you out of the game a little bit, the fact that you have to bring up a menu, and yeah, that part of it is still not great, sadly. But yeah, the actual controls themselves are a lot better. There's also element of motion controls as well, so you can use the controller, PS5 controller, to you know, if you look up, it will move the camera up and that sort of thing. So that is quite, well, I mean, that's completely different to the original version. I don't think I particularly used it that much, if I'm honest, but it's a nice addition to it. But yeah, the obvious major sort of change to the game, as with most remasters really, is the graphical update to it. So yeah, graphically, and again, it's a bit of a strange one. Graphically, it now looks like a stunning PlayStation 2 game. So it still looks very much like a PlayStation 2 game. The character models, most of the sort of scenery, and you know, the buildings that you go through, it still has that PlayStation 2 look, but obviously on a sort of souped up HD kind of scale, if you like. So you know, it's a lot more sort of the lighting is a lot different, obviously. In parts, I'd say it's a lot darker as well, which doesn't help sometimes when you're trying to shoot quite sort of small They almost look like crab heads from Half-Life, but you know, smaller kind of things, if you like, that are flying around at you and that sort of thing. It makes it quite hard to see them sometimes, which again, I suppose that's quite a good thing. It gives it that kind of jump scare kind of element to it a bit. But yeah, just in the PS2 original version, everything was just a little bit brighter, so you could sort of see a little bit more, a little bit better. But yeah, I think remasters, modern day games, they do sort of bring the extra kind of lighting effects, which means most areas are quite dark, so the lighting effects look better. But yeah, that being said, you know, it does look nice. It looks modern, and yet still looks like a PlayStation 2 game. So it's not like they've completely rebuilt the game from the ground up or anything like that. It's not a remake, obviously. It's a remaster, and it still looks, still feels, still sounds like a PS2 game. And speaking of sounds, yeah, most of the dialogue and most of the voice acting seems to have been retained as well. Some of it's all right, some of it's a bit cheesy, some of it's very kind of macho, bravado, you know, deep voiced Marines kind of thing. And again, it kind of, that's part of the charm of it, I guess. It's almost done like an 80s film again. So yeah, there's a lot of familiarity with this game, and like I've said right at the beginning, it is quite a nostalgia trip. And so many sort of, you know, we've gone through 3 generations since that game came out. Playing it on the PlayStation 5 is quite strange in a way. I know that's odd to say, because you know, there's plenty of sort of PS2 games, even PS1 games, that you can play on a PlayStation 5 via PS Plus. But yeah, this is obviously just a very weird mix of old and new, and it just takes a little bit, and you know, it takes a bit of gameplay wise to sort of get used to it. And once you almost grasp that sort of familiarity, if you played it before, or grasp the nostalgia element of it, it does get good, and you know, you start to really enjoy it again. That being said, could I recommend this game to somebody who perhaps hasn't played PlayStation 2 games that much, or hasn't played the original on PS2 or an Xbox? It's a very difficult one to say. I think if you have not played the original game and you pick this up, put it in your PlayStation 5, I think you'd be quite sort of, I don't know, not shocked, but you'll be surprised at just how old it possibly feels. And you know, I said it before, 23 years old now, this game. It's one of those where you will either embrace the sort of nostalgia of it, or you will look at it and think, God, this is horrible looking and clunky and just old fashioned. But you know, that being said, I'm very much, you know, into modern, I'm into old. I'll play literally anything. So for me personally, I have so far quite enjoyed it. And I'm nearly at the end of the game, I think. Like I said, about 2/3 of the way through it. I did finish the original, obviously. But yeah, about 2/3 of the way through it. I know towards the end of the game, I don't want this to be too much of a spoiler, but there is a bit of a shift in the way the game sort of plays. So to begin with, it's all very much about you against the Thing and your squad members and that trust element. It does go a little bit sort of generic shooter game towards the end of it, because the enemies kind of change. I don't want to say too much about, you know, towards the end of the game, but yeah, it does change a little bit from what I remember. That's one of the only things from the original that I do remember, is that the end, or the final portion of the game, is quite sort of different to the beginning of it in a way, and not in a great way either. So yeah, do I recommend The Thing Remastered? I think for the price that you can get it for, I think it's well worth a look. I'm not sure how much The Thing on PlayStation 2 or Xbox is currently selling for, but I know it's not like a necessarily sort of £1, £2, £3 kind of game. But I don't think it's necessarily that cheap. So if you are going to play a game or version of The Thing, yeah, you have to go for the remaster, I think, because it is the better version of it. It will be, because it's brand new. But yeah, just don't expect it to particularly look or feel brand new. It's a very odd remaster of what is still a really good game. So I do recommend giving it a look, because it is good still. It is good still. And I know that whole video probably gives a very mixed message about it. But overall, it's still a great game, I think, and well worth a look. So those are my thoughts on The Thing Remastered. I'm not particularly great at reviewing things or anything like that, or giving opinion pieces, but I hope you kind of got across the way I sort of feel about this game so far. I don't know whether I will have convinced you to give it a try or not. It's one of those games that may well come down in price a little bit over the next few months. I've only actually ever seen it available to buy online. I've not seen it, on sale physically in a shop or anything like that at the moment. So, but yeah, it's worth looking for. Maybe wait for a price drop, perhaps. Like I said, I got it from the Game Collection. Really quick postage with them guys as well. Big shout out to the Game Collection. Excellent service as always. So yeah, it could be worth waiting for a price drop. If you're on the fence about it, yeah, I'd say, do you know what? Give it a go. If you love the film, if you do, if you're a fan of the film, yeah, it's well worth playing, I think. The Thing Remastered. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. If you've played the remaster of it, let me know in the comments what you thought of it. If you played the original, again, let me know in the comments what you thought of both games. I will always try to reply, of course. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.